Each year, 1.5 million Americans will suffer the trauma of a heart attack. More than 500,000 will die, most even before they reach the hospital. Dr. Bernie Katz is in 2 of the major risk groups for heart disease. He's male and he's over 40. He is also a participant in a major study to determine the effect of aspirin on heart disease.
I chose to be in the study because heart disease, which is the nation's #1 killer, as we all know, is something that's of personal interest to me, not only for my patients, but for my own welfare, my family's welfare.
Heart attacks can occur when blood clots in the arteries block the flow of blood to the heart. Researchers had observed that aspirin can help prevent clotting, lowering the risk of heart disease.
There were 2 lines of evidence that suggested the possibility that aspirin might prevent heart attacks in healthy people. One is the basic research that suggested that low doses of aspirin would inhibit the tendency of blood platelets to stick together and therefore inhibit clotting. And the second was some observations in human populations that suggested that people who used aspirin regularly might have lowered risk of heart disease from those who did not.
To confirm the effects of aspirin on heart attack risk, it was necessary to go beyond these observational studies. Dr. Hennekens and his colleagues designed a randomized clinical trial known as the Physician's Health Study. To test the hypothesis that taking aspirin reduces heart attack risk by 20 to 30%, over 22,000 healthy doctors between the ages of 40 and 84 were chosen as subjects. Since the annual heart attack rate in men is just 4 per 1,000, such a large sample was needed to include enough incidents of heart attack to be able to draw a conclusion. The study was carefully designed. Half the doctors were given an aspirin to take every other day. The other half, called the control group, was given an inert substance called a placebo. Neither the administrators of the study nor the doctors knew who was getting what, a design feature known as double blindness.
This double blindness ensures that subjective symptoms experienced by the patient will not be attributable to their knowledge that they're on either the active drug or on the placebo. And in addition, a blindness on the part of the investigator ensures that the ascertainment of the cardiovascular endpoints as well as the eliciting of symptoms on the part of the patient will not be influenced by the knowledge of whether they're on the active drug or not.
There are many ethical concerns in a study this large. Concerns about giving the treatment to half the group and about not giving the treatment to the other half.
The timing of a randomized trial is a particularly delicate matter because in general, I think we have to have sufficient doubt about the agent being tested to allow us to withhold the treatment from half the subjects. But at the same time, there has to be sufficient belief in its potential to justify exposing the other half of people to the active ingredient.
Physicians were chosen as subjects partly for these ethical reasons: their ability to assess the risks and benefits of the treatment, and for practical reasons.
Hi, this is Dr. Katz. Michelle, please. Part of the brilliance of the study, in my opinion, was to use physicians, most of whom are pretty compulsive characters anyway. I do pride myself on never having missed a dose.
Why couldn't the PHS researchers just have used this simple design? Give aspirin to a large group of male doctors and then see if they had fewer heart attacks than expected, according to health statistics. If the subjects had fewer heart attacks than expected, it may have been the aspirin, but it also may have been due to other factors, some beyond the control or even the knowledge of the researchers. For example, the subjects knew they were being watched. They might have decided to help out the researchers by exercising more or by eating a low cholesterol diet. These types of known or unknown factors confound the results. The way to reduce confounding is comparison. That's why the subjects were split into 2 groups. The group that didn't take the aspirin is called the control group. Researchers compare the results from the treatment group, the aspirin group, to the results from the control group. In order to maintain the comparability, the control group took the placebo, a dummy pill that looked just like the aspirin. Why use a placebo? Well, it turns out that just taking any pill or receiving any treatment can make people feel better. Many studies show placebos can relieve pain just as well as actual treatments. This phenomenon is called the placebo effect. So the control group, which took the placebo, served as the comparison group in the aspirin study. We'll return to the study and find out what happened.
There were 104 total heart attacks in those who were assigned at random to aspirin, and there were 189 heart attacks for those assigned at random to placebo. This suggests there was a 47% reduction in heart attacks in those who received aspirin compared with those who got placebo. The probability that we would find a result as extreme as we did in our study is less than 1 in 100,000 times.
These results were so striking that it no longer seemed ethical to continue the experiment. The code, information on who was taking what, was broken early, and subjects were notified of the results.
I've had no side effects from this at all. And with my luck, I figured this thing really works. Naturally, I've been on placebo. But it turns out that I was on aspirin and tolerated it very well and plan to continue taking it indefinitely.
Although aspirin's role in reducing heart attack risk is significant, Dr. Hennekens cautions that it's not for everyone. For each patient, doctors have to weigh the side effects and the increased stroke risk against the possible benefits.
Double cheeseburger, large fries, jumbo coffee. Oh, and aspirin. Gotta take care of the ticker, you know.
And most importantly, other lifestyle changes should not be ignored.
I think it would be tragic indeed if a middle-aged person, say a cigarette smoker, were to, instead of quitting, begin to take aspirin to try to reduce their heart disease risks. So I believe that aspirin could be viewed as a possible adjunct to management of other coronary risk factors, but in no way should be viewed as an alternative.